Hey everyone, welcome back to the shop. It's time to start Project Warlock. I've got the plans set up on the bench. Now, what most people who are building, what we like to do, because we're going to be spending hours looking at the plans, but what we like to do is when you're building off a set of plans, to work on the area where you're at. What you normally do is get out a pair of scissors and start cutting up the plans, because you only really want on the bench the stuff you're working on at the time. So that way anyway, two different ways to do it. Normally what I would do is I would go out right away and get a copy of those plans made, and then build off the copy, and then just pretty much hang on to the good copy to either A, use it on another build, or B, give it to a friend that wants to build it. That's the way things work. So I didn't want to spend the money on this, and the reason why I didn't want to spend the money on this is because the money's going into the plane. Now what I did, and this is going back probably about 2 years, maybe 3 years. I expressed interest in building a vintage plane, a pattern scale plane, and good old Larry DeRubo, my pseudo stepdad, had a set of Warlock plans. So I do have a set of plans beat up and already built upon. This is what I'm going to cut up. So the brand new plans themselves are just going to get rolled back up and thrown back in the same tube that this came out of. So that makes that part easy. That way I don't have to spend the 30 bucks or whatever they want to have a copy of those things made. So let me just kind of get things somewhere up to where I'm starting at right now. The motor, the electric motor, is coming in on Saturday. So when that arrives, then I got Saturday off. So when that arrives, I'll have everything back down here, and I'll show you what we're going to do with the fuselage. Because I will start building the fuselage first, but because I've got the stuff for the wing already here right now with the retracts and everything I want to do with it, I want to cover what I will be doing, because I'm going to have to relocate the lower wing spar, which you don't really want to play with the spars, but in order to get the retracts to fit in the way they need to fit in, I'm going to have to move it. So anyway, I've got, you can see it, your buddy GoPro is sitting up there also recording, so we're going to be switching back and forth between cameras. So hi GoPro. So with the hopes that all will go well. So anyway, let's head on over to here. Alright, now what we're going to be doing with this is it's going to be kind of hard to see. So let's see how well this works. This is a stack. It's how they were cut out. They put a couple pins through them, they cut them all out at once, and it's done. So that way everything is properly lined up. This is for the control rod to go through for the elevators, right there, or the ailerons. So here's the control rod, and there's the hole for it. We're going to end up enlarging this and putting a piece of, it'll probably be just paper, rolled up paper through there. That's where we're going to be running the extension cable out to go to the servo. So boom, servo. So what I brought you in for this is that I want to kind of show you what I'm going to have to do. Now this is looking at the bottom of the plane. Here's the plywood block that's set up to put the regular fixed landing gear in. But because we're going to go with retracts, I need to reset things up properly, because the wheel is going to have to sit up in here. So I'll probably slide this a little bit farther out towards this rib. And I want to have, I wish I had a good piece of, let's just throw this out here just so you got an idea. So say that this was the rib that was right here. What we're going to do is we're going to move the bottom rib over. So this thing will be able to sit over this far, clamp down. Now this bottom rib is supposed to be balsa. At minimum, this bottom rib will be made out of spruce. I may do the top and the bottom out of spruce, because on the bottom side of this, it's going to have to be cut out larger. So I'm going to have to cut another section of this out, and I'm going to end up putting a little block in there. And it might just be a little teeny spacer block. because this is going to run the full length. I just have to figure out what I want to do with this one. But anyway, it's going to be cut a little bit wider, so it's just going to come straight over like this and then cut out. So I have to do that to all of these because it's running all the way across. Now the bottom one in the back, I've got to figure out exactly how this works, because it's kind of, we'll have to get a little bit deeper into the plans. I'm going to have to move everything around just so that you guys can kind of see. So that's going to be the whole part of today, is just trying to figure out how we've got to have everything set up with the hopes that all will go well. Because once we start bashing a set of plans like this into a kit, we've got to make sure everything is going to work before we start cutting. So there's just going to be, and like I said, it's going to be about 3 hours of me wrapping my head around this. I've probably already spent about an hour, and that's just to get to the point where I'm at. So what we will do is, seeing that you kind of got a good understanding of what we're doing here, because what I also have to do is, because this little wire itself will not work where I want it to work. So I do have the same size. I think it's 5/32. Yeah, 5/32 wire. So this will come in, and then I'll just, as soon as it comes out, I'll make a bend forward and a bend through. So I'm going to be making new landing gear wire out of this, just some regular K&S stock. So that will work out very nice. So let me get things kind of turned around, so we can start crunching into what else we have to do, because they are calling that I believe they're calling that a rear spar. I'm hoping they're calling that a rear spar. If not, it's going to have one in it. Yeah, they call it a top and bottom surface spar. Never heard of that before, but we got to figure out how that's going to work, because I've never done one. So let's do some learning. All right, another conundrum. That's what I go through. All right, what I did is, let me send you over to this machine. What I had to do, because the way that this, right, the way that the retract servo was going to have to mount, if it was back down in this area where it was running out to here, there probably wouldn't be so much of an issue. The problem is, it would have to be farther up front. So even though I don't have an issue with where this is blocked away, this is going to strangely put me right through a zone, because it's going to have to be in the middle where the two wing halves join together. It's not an issue on the far and the aft, but it's going right through the main spar. So I try to figure out different ways to brace it, and better off going with something else. And that something else, because you can see, here's an oleo strut. That's for the Zero that sits up on the shelf behind you. And unfortunately, it never got finished. So I do have some nice oleo struts for that. This piece here is an electric. It's an electric servo. The only problem with this one is this trunnion, which is the rotating part up here, this rotating piece here, is 5 millimeters. I need a 4 millimeter one. Now this part here, when it would get attached, it would come in up here. I'm hoping we can see this good enough. It would come in up here. Let me get the other camera pointed towards it as well. Alright. Let's see how well I can do this now. Okay. So this piece here is going to once again come up to here and slide over, because this will get moved. Now what this will allow me to do is, this will allow me to come in between the upper and lower spar and run this in, or if I needed to run it this way up through and then into this cavity here to come out, that would be fine. So that's probably what I'm going to do. Regardless, either way, I'm going to have a tube coming down here that's going to go out to the sorry about that, I'm hoping you can see it. That's going to go all the way out to where the servo is going to be in the wing. So I can share it if I wanted to, or I can have a little slanted tube going through. But I think this is how we're going to do it. We're just going to go ahead and run it inside. Now with the thickness of the wing, because this one's too big. This is one for like a 60 or 90 size aircraft, and I needed one for a 40 size, so it is considerably smaller. Like I said, it's got a 4 millimeter trunnion on it to slide in, so hopefully that problem will be gone. And I'm hoping that that one's going to have this too as well. It's got a pin, you unscrew it and you can slide the pin out. If not, I'm going to have to pretty much take it apart and then press it out and then just go ahead and put a set screw in there to run this, because 5/32 is so close to 4 millimeters, you can kind of call it 4 millimeters. What we're looking at here, I'm hoping you can see this quite well. When we run this through, that's how close to 4 millimeters it is. So you're looking at 6/100ths of a millimeter, so I think we'll be good there. So anyway, so what's going to happen is this is going to slide in here, and then we'll just do the same thing. Just as long as I got 4 millimeters, I'll have this stuff come out to the side, and then we'll set a wheel into place. So that's kind of how I'm going to have to do this now. So that's kind of how I think we're going to have to go ahead and jump in on that one. Like I said, I was really hoping that the retracts that I got for free, I don't know how long ago that was. That was because I know I swapped out I think it was a G38. It was an old G38 for a G23, which is in my White Piper Cub. I got that, and then I got a Mick Reeves gear reduction. So, and I was going to use that gear reduction. One of these days I'll bring it out just to show you guys how it works. That's designed to go with it was an old G23 or G26, and then you're going to be spinning it down pretty much by half the RPM. So let's just round it up and say you can spin the motor at 6,000 RPM. It would be spinning a prop at 3,000 RPM. Because I was going to use that on the Bristol Scout, because it's a quarter scale Bristol Scout, and I can run a 2412 prop on that. I think it's 2412. It might be a 2212, but regardless, that'll be a scale size prop for the plane. So that's kind of why I'm still hanging on to that thing. It's probably worth, you know, several $100s. So, you know, I got a pretty good deal on that one, and Roger was happy to donate it to somebody else. So anyway, yeah, now we're just kind of stuck until Sunday. This took me about 2 hours of going through everything, trying to figure out. I didn't draw anything up. Just crunched a lot of stuff around inside this little thing upstairs, and realized that the amount of work I was going to have to do, it was going to add weight, because I was going to have to put multiple gussets inside just to try to reinforce where the spar goes through, top and bottom. Because what it was going to do is, it was going to, and this is really the strange part, is that it's the way I wanted to have it set up. It was going to not only eat through the whole top spar, but I was going to need the space underneath as well. And trying to run bent rods from behind the spar up in front of the spar and all the way down, I just wasn't going to have the clearance to do that. So that's why I just decided to at this point just bail out. So what we'll do is, because until I get the fuselage put together, I don't know how big of a hole I was going to be able to make in the middle of that wing. And personally, I'd rather have just 4 servo extensions. Hang on, GoPro, turn off. At least that one listens. And I'm having tons of problems with my Canon. I haven't got new batteries, and it's not recognizing the battery. So I'm going to see if there's this kind of system update, or if I can reboot it. But yeah, I had to buy a power cord, so. But anyway, so let me figure out how I want to work with some other pieces. I mean, I could take the measurements here on top of to see what kind of width it's going to be on the bottom, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So anyway, I think that's enough for today. And then Saturday, I'm going to come down here and we'll start crunching through more stuff on Saturday. And just when I get the motor in, I'm going to figure out, and I'll make a little mock-up battery, and it'll be out of some pink foam. I'll just glue some stuff together, cut it out because I think I may, somewhere around here, I may still have the mock-up battery that I use for the brain's gone, the DH-71, the Tiger Moth, the single wing, the lower wing. But I think that battery will work, because this motor is designed for a 4-cell pack, and that's what I run on that one. So even if I take that battery and make sure that that battery will work inside on this one too, then, you know, I'm good as gold. So hopefully all will work out well. So I'll see you guys back down here Saturday.